Welcome back. We are at Burlington Northern's little area here. It's actually rather big. We're on the floor of the CenturyLink Arena in Omaha, Nebraska, 50th anniversary of Berkshire Hathaway. And when Warren Buffett bought the railroad, a whole railroad, it was his biggest acquisition ever, and it became his biggest company ever, and it would throw a lot of cash right back into the Berkshire coffers. But in the most recent shareholder meeting, he was rather harsh on Burlington Northern, saying that they disappointed customers in the last year. And then I caught up with him last night, and I said, so that was back in March, looking backwards. How do things look now for Burlington Northern? Here's what Buffett said.
They've improved dramatically. If you look at the figures in the first quarter, in terms of train velocity, in terms of dwell, and I'll even say in terms of earnings, you'll see a big change relative to the Union Pacific, which is our yardstick.
So there's always the big brother of Union Pacific, but so what, says Matt Rose, who's the chairman. And, you know, you've really worked to turn this around from that. Look, it was a verbal smackdown in the shareholder letter. Did you cringe?
No, not really. We saw it coming, Liz, and it was really a confluence of events. We have to go back to 2013, fourth quarter 2013,
yeah.
Oil's margin spread, big grain harvest, consumer was coming back. Quite frankly, we had more business than we could handle. And then we saw that, we started making the changes in 2014, but when you're maintaining a railroad, when you're expanding a railroad, you actually lose capacity, so things got worse before they got better. Mm-hmm. And then fourth quarter in 2014, we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it wasn't another train. And everything opened up, and that's continued all the way in to where we are today. And we've basically restored the level of service on the railroad today where it was. And it's really due to the hard work of our operating team, led by Carl Ice, Greg Fox, and a number of other people.
Well, let me just focus on oil, because the Bakken shale business became so valuable and so exciting. It was almost like everybody got glitter in their eyes saying this is going to be huge. And then you saw the bottom drop out temporarily from oil prices. How is that continuing to affect you guys?
So I would say that it's impacting the future growth that we were expecting, not the current business. We're still handling 650,000, 700,000 barrels a day of oil. Large amount of oil that we would have expected. If you would have asked me that question a year ago, we would have said we'd be at 1 million barrels a day. So they're still producing, but they're not fracturing the next well.
Okay. You're still going to make billions in improvements, even though that oil industry may slow down a bit?
Yeah, so we announced the largest capital plan in railroad history, $6 billion.
Can you imagine that? Wait, we need to wrap our minds around that. $6 billion.
Yeah.
Doing what? To fix the tracks?
About half of it's to maintain the railroad. The other half is expansion, new locomotives, cars, things like that. And we decided that we were going to go ahead with that expansion capacity because this is capacity that's going to be here for the next 150, 200 years. And we know that oil prices, commodity prices, ag prices cycle. But we know that having this capacity is going to allow us to provide the level of service we need and grow our business.
Okay, now you've got that big plan, and suddenly in comes the Department of Transportation saying we need new regulations. We may even tax older rail cars because they're not as safe as the newest rail cars, which would get maybe a tax break. How are you working that into your numbers?
Yeah. So the crude oil, not just Bakken, but what we're seeing out of these shale plays, has a higher level of volatility. And we have been
it can blow up.
Well, it doesn't. It actually doesn't technically blow up, but I won't go into that.
Mm-hmm. No,
but
it can catch fire.
It does catch fire, and it has what we call a thermal tear, which that's where you see the flames, what I call the TV moment. Mm-hmm. But that being said, we have advocated for a stronger tank car. We've also increased the amount of inspections we're doing on the railroad. And we've also decided at BNSF to slow the trains down through metropolitan areas of over 100,000 people. So we address this with a three-pronged approach: prevention, mitigation, and then response. At the end of the day, the American public needs us to be successful in this for a number of reasons. Domestic oil production and getting it right and being able to handle it the right way, the safe way, but also being able to produce it here at home is a huge idea.
Well, safety's always good, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know how you keep these things safe from all of the viewers. These are unbelievable. If my little brother had one of these growing up, he would have gone nuts over this. How much does this cost to set up?
Oh, I don't know. We bought it once, and now all we do is expand it, and we add companies when they become part of the Berkshire Hathaway family.
Yeah, and they're all
Charter's the latest one this last year. and then we add a building or a model for them, and it's been a lot of fun.
Great to see you, Matt.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good to see you, Liz.
Good work. We
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Matt Rose of Burlington Northern. When we come back.